Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing the final, thank God, part of HEA Tell All Part 5. Shit show's coming to an end. So, before we jump into that, let's do some hot goss. So Shida and Bilal shared in an Instagram post that she was celebrating her 40th birthday. Bilal pointed out all the positive things about his wife and wished her the best, but later in the post, the 90 Day Fiancé star revealed that it was a double celebration as they're expecting a baby, which is so good. I'm so happy for them. And in the post, he said, "Happy birthday to my lovely wife, celebrating you and our new bundle of joy coming soon." And there is more on the post, but that's kind of the main thing there. As you kind of know, again, this trigger warning for pregnancy loss, but she did suffer 2 miscarriages, which I did not know about 2 of them, or no, didn't know there was 2, but she's, as we know, she's suffered those over the past few years. The first one happened in February 2023, in which the couple expressed how hard it was to deal with the loss, but they obviously remain strong in their faith. And then Shida uploaded an emotional YouTube video only a month ago, or last month, featuring her second miscarriage. It even came to a point where she uploaded a vlog in which she talked about her miscarriage symptoms as well. So I'm happy for them that, that with those losses came something amazing. And I can't imagine what that feels like. It is definitely something a lot of women unfortunately deal with. And I think is for those who haven't experienced it who are trying and whatnot, it is definitely a fear. So I'm very happy for them. Next, another pregnancy. This time, this one is involving Hazel and Tariq. She's pregnant, y'all. But the thing is that it's a little bit confusing because I thought actually that they had broken up, and I had heard that they'd broken up. So there's a little bit of a timeline thing going on here. So just to kind of explain that, again, trigger warning for DV. Tariq and Hazel have kind of dealt with domestic, well, not DV, I shouldn't say DV for sure, but they've dealt with domestic issues. And it began after their after their wedding. At the time, Hazel would make social media posts implying that Tariq was mentally and emotionally abusive to her. She never said that he was physically abusive to her, and also admitted that he never hit her throughout the relationship. Tariq also shared his 2 cents on the issue. He said via Dominique Natty show, quote, "There were Americans who knew she didn't really understand the severity of what she was saying." I guess he's trying to downplay what she was saying, but I mean, she's not dumb. So Hazel and Tariq's relationship has somehow improved during their time apart because they did separate. The couple reconciled in early 2022 and seemed like they were doing good. Hazel even took responsibility for her statements, revealing that adjusting to the US without her son made her feel quote unquote crazy. She admitted that her husband only raised his voice and never yelled at her. In 2022, the famous, I would, screen rant, I would say not, but they confessed that they were working on the relationship and trying to bring their son to America, her son. They even hinted that they plan to have more kids in the future. And then Hazel announced her pregnancy in July, so just about a couple months ago. She even created a what to expect page to track her pregnancy progress and share it with fans. Her registry builder bio states, quote, "Thank you for being our village and helping us stock up in anticipation of the stork's arrival." It reveals that she's due on September 14th, so she's due anytime. Almost 2 months from now. Well, this article is a little late in me reading, but Hazel's pregnancy page shows all the items she'll need for her baby, including toys, bodysuits, and baby healthcare kits. It also has Amazon links for grooming items and crib mattresses if you're interested in helping her. Hazel shared a pregnancy update on her Instagram, also posting photos of herself with her baby bump. She looked real happy, apparently. She titled the post "Third Try, My Nose My ha ha ha, my nose so wide, cute." Admitting that it was her third trimester, she seemed eager to welcome her baby and share the news with everyone. Hazel's post got nearly 3K likes with dozens of positive comments. One user apparently wrote, "You two are going to have a beautiful child," adding that Hazel and Tariq's baby would be a gorgeous mix. But people thought that they weren't together anymore because they weren't posting each other on their socials, but who knows. But yeah, that's basically that. Let's go on to the last piece of hot goss, and that is, so during an IG story Q&A, Stephen Friend answered answered a fan asking if he and Olga had split. So, according to him, I think a lot of us know this already at this point, he wasn't expecting the question so fast. However, he did confirm that they're no longer together. I told you eventually that was going to happen. He also confirmed that he's the one who decided to put an end to their relationship and focus on their children. Sure. He assured everyone that Olga was a great mom, but he couldn't be in the relationship anymore. Stephen didn't share much about what had happened between them, though he clarified that everything would be revealed in time. So she, I believe, also did a Q&A, if I'm correct. And she said, "I know you've been asking this question a lot. Here's the answer. No, we're not together. New chapter." So good for her. I don't care about him. um, but yeah, that's basically that. We'll stop it there for now with the hot goss, but let's move on to the reason that we are here. HEA Tell All Part 5. Let's get this over with. Happy to be at the finish. So, we are right back where we left off with this fight between Lauren and Sophie and Thais. And yeah, so Sophie's kind of again like, "No one came for you during your segment." And Lauren's like, "Well, then you should have asked questions." Yeah, you should have. Seriously. And it's like, you don't show anything bad. You don't show your bad side. And she's like, were you watching the same clips that the rest of us were watching? Did you not see us fighting?" And she's like, "Oh, you know what, Rob? I get it now." Oh shit. In the words of Robert and Annie, shots fired. For real, for real. So, and then Sophie's like, "You always say that you're on the women's side." She's like, "I never said that. I said I'm on the side of the truth. So whether that's the man's side or the women's side, you know." And I wrote this point, these people are ridiculous. And they're like, "You act like you're better than everyone." I think Thais said that. And she's like, "Are you out of your mind?" She's like, "I never said that." I mean, sometimes she can act like she's a little bit better than everybody, but when you're acting like this, hell yeah, she's better than you. Seriously. But Ed comes in, he says, okay, but in fairness though, if you did have questions, why not ask them? Ed coming to be the person who speaks the truth here. Who knew? Oh, Sophie says, because there was like nothing to say. Okay, so then what is this argument? What is this argument? Get out of here. With yourself. Anyways. And then Emily says, okay, well then if there's nothing to ask, then you guys just go to the airport. And they're still like kind of yelling and like how you have no respect for anyone, stay for a few hours, like period. So this is what all this is about. It's about the fact that they're leaving. Who cares? If Alexei couldn't get more time off of work, then so be it. He has to go back or he loses his job for what, this? He's not going to lose his job for this show. Are you paying you going to give him the money? I think he actually said that at one point. I think he did say, well, then if you want us to say, then you give me the money from I would get from work for a day of work. And they're like, he has to go back to work. Marlene has to go back to work. I guess her dad's still working too. Like everyone has to go back to work. She has to be with the kids. They don't have a babysitter. They probably have to get back to school. So like what? Like the difference is the people here who are talking nonsense are the ones who don't have kids or only have one kid. Okay? Sophie doesn't have kids. Okay? And Thais has the one. I don't know who's taking care of the kid. But whatever. That whatever you have the money, because let's be real here, Patrick has the money to hire someone to watch her. Maybe that's not Alexei's and Lauren's story, And Sophie, shut up. You don't have kids. And then her being like, Emily and Kobe are here. She's pregnant. Emily made the choice to be there while pregnant, but she does have 2 other kids. Now, her parents are here, so they're probably watching the kids. And they're young. It's not a big deal if Kobe misses a day of school and Scarlett's not in school yet. So it's just like, shut up. It's the moral of the story. It's just shut up. And then Thais wants to be upset because Lauren congratulated her on Elisi's birth. And she's like, "Ah, you're getting mad at me because I did acknowledge you're giving birth to Elisi? Like, what?" They don't have an argument. And they look like the dumbest fools in this place. And everyone kind of being like, I mean, Rob has to side with them because he has no choice. Patrick has to side with Thais. He has no choice. But it's just like, can no one in this place kind of say, what is this argument? Because you sound and look ridiculous. Emily does feel that way, but she didn't say anything to them. But me? Me? If that was me, I would literally be like, what is this argument y'all are going off about? Because who cares? I don't care if they're not going to be there. They have a valid reason for not being there. It's not going to hurt me whether they're there or not there. And we're all being like, oh my God, like whatever, they got to go now because that's when their flight is. Why the hell they're going to go back to fucking New Jersey and, miss their flight for? It's not worth it. Who cares? And that's the thing. None of them stay there that night. They leave. They're not sleeping there. What is this? What is this argument? So stupid. So, yeah, Ty's like, you have no respect for anyone. And, like, what? Like, it's so dumb. And then Lauren's like, Sophie, you haven't even smiled once since you've been here. She's like, I had a panic attack. She's like, and I have Tourette syndrome. What's your point? Like, you can't even crack a smile. Lauren is correct. You are a miserable bitch 24/7. Not once can you crack a smile. The only time you crack a smile is when you're being enabled. So, she's like, I'm sorry that I have kids that I have to take care of. And Emily says, it's not like fair that they were attacking you. And also then had nothing to say. So then Angela and Michael say their goodbyes. She is gonna be going home and going to be hiring a lawyer so she can get him deported. And good luck with that. And they said, but the PI said that he's not scamming you. And she's like, Rob, like I don't want to get I want to get my visa away from him. And then everyone in there without even a second thought is like, what do you mean when you say my visa? Especially Jasmine. She kind of is the one that's facilitating the question. And she's like, yes, Jasmine, my visa, my visa. When I told him that I was going to give him my visa, it was because I loved him. And it's like, ma'am, you did not give him the visa. The states gave him the visa. And you then don't get to then take away something that has nothing to do with you. Kobe is correct. Kobe says at this point, he's like, that's his personal documentation. It's not yours. You don't get to have something because you are the one sponsoring him. So it's not yours. It's his. It's his visa, his name on it. It is his visa. And of course, Kobe saying anything like that is going to create a problem. And she's like, Kobe, why are you coming at me? You're being like chauvinistic all day. What? Kobe's being a chauvinist? What are you talking about? Because what did he say that's so bad? I mean, yes, the whole naming thing, problematic, but he's not a bad guy. He's one of the nicest guys in the universe. And you want to come, hmm, Hmm. If that was my man, because again, I'm putting myself in that predicament of I do have an African man. I mean, Emily's big and pregnant, so she can't really get involved, but trust me, I would have bounced her with my belly. You come and try to attack my husband? Oh, gloves are off. Gloves are off. I will beat you to kingdom come. You know what? I'm gonna win. You wanna know why? Because your body full of cigarette smoke and I'm gonna win. Okay? Because you're the walking dead currently. I'm not. I'm a beat you. I don't care. Don't touch a hair on my man's head. Don't. Don't. You do? See what happens. That man ain't Michael. And that's not fair because Michael shouldn't have to deal with that either, but you're not going to treat someone else's man the way you treat yours because how you treat yours is disgusting to begin with. You don't get to treat someone else like that. And it's funny that you do it. You try to come at him, and he's the only other African man there. I didn't see you coming at Rob that way because Rob had some words for you too. You didn't come at him that way, but you're coming at another African man that way. Makes you think. So, yeah. She's like to him, like, suck my dick. Jasmine is crying at this point because she's triggered by the use of my visa. She's very triggered. Which I totally understand. I totally get that. Ashley goes over to Angela and she's like, Jasmine's crying because, do you want to go check on her? And Angela's like, I don't care. I don't care. I gotta worry about my own mental health. I don't care. No, you don't care about anybody else but your damn self. It's amazing you even give a shit about your grandkids because you are a narcissist and you only care about yourself. You don't care about no one else. So yeah, she's like, Kobe has no right to be bringing that dominant shit to our country. So you think so again, and I know she wasn't there during Lauren and Lexi's segment, but again, you're talking about this dominant behavior about an African man, but would you have said the same to Alexi? because he also has a dominant, bone in his body, and he's not African. So it's just interesting, that's all. So then she yells at Kobe again. She does go back in for her cigarettes and she calls him a prick on the way in. Like, it's just, you're gross. Like, of all people, you're coming out. You don't go after Ed, who's garbage. But you go after Kobe. Okay. And this is where he says to him, Michael, that's your personal documentation, the visa. And, and, uh, And she's like, Michael, you can just tell him to shut it. Then she's at this point ready to fight Kobe. I mean, my girl is like bouncing on her heels like she's Muhammad Ali. Like, what is going on? And she's like, don't no disrespect, Emily. If you punched my man in the face, that's disrespecting me. So don't tell me that. And she's like, Kobe thinks that she's an ass, which agreed. And she's like, she wants to be able to control him forever. And the fact that she can't, well, it's pissing her off. Amen to that. Anyway, everyone else is headed back to the house. Sophie is like, Lauren, she just flipped on me. What? What? She literally came in here saying we gotta go because we gotta go get our kids. We're not gonna land till like 1 or midnight or whatever. And you like got on her, but she flipped on you? What world do you live in? Anyway, Jasmine questions whether or not Ashley delayed the process on purpose. I think she might have. We kind of talked about that already in the last episode. And she said, like, Manuel has actually messaged me privately and also asked me to delete the messages because he didn't want, I guess, black and white proof of what he was saying. But he would say to her that I'm being controlled by Ashley, which, y'all, I can believe it. And Gino, she said, delayed the process as well. So she kind of feels like she understands that from that perspective. She's like, he says, summertime. Ugh. But, or I think Emily says, but he said it was summertime. Like, what does that even mean? We don't know. We don't know. Ashley and Manuel get back to the house and because they've been fighting on the way back, she beats him to their room because he was just walking, strolling to their room, and she beats him to the room and she's like, I need to be alone for a minute, and closes the doors. Oh man. She's like, why am I selfish? Like, I gave up my life, but you chose to. So you can't then throw it in his face because you made a decision. You just can't. Sorry. Manuel tells Sophie that I didn't help, but I got sorry. Manuel tells Sophie, like, she said I didn't help, but I got the lawyer. I'm the one who got the lawyer. Kobe says that they are both right and they're both wrong. So I had that last part. It tells Gino that, you just want, or are, sorry. Can't remember what I wrote here. It tells Gino, like, I guess asking him, like, why don't you just fuck your wife? He says sometimes with the fights, Gino just feels like he wants to leave. Sometimes he feels like he doesn't want to leave. I think maybe you should. Manuel says it's one thing to provide money to kids, but he says, like, it's not once that she asks how the kids are doing. Maybe the reason that he isn't introducing her to the kids is because he feels like she doesn't care to know the kids. So then why would I introduce you to someone that I don't even think you have interest in? Potentially, it's possible. She says, I care about them more than you realize. Again, just the communication isn't happening. She says when we get the paperwork, we're going to go to Ecuador. I smell another HEA season for them. This time, go to Ecuador. Let's do it. Anyway, back to Gino and Jasmine. Ed tries to tell her, you need to try and listen more because Jasmine definitely doesn't know how to listen or shut up and listen. But she doesn't. She doesn't listen in this moment either. And Ed says, you're both stuck, you're both stuck and you're both not willing to kind of do the work to be unstuck. And she gets upset at this. She's like, no one would want to wait around being patiently rejected for 8 months. Even your family is against you. He's like, no, 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 no. Yes, they are, Gino. Yes, they are. And she's like, if I am so terrible, then let me walk away. I think not only that, you need to just walk away. Maybe you just need to just walk away. I don't know. Um, she's like, you've told me that you don't love me, but that you love my companionship, so you're not like in love with her, I guess. And Ashley gets why Gino won't have sex with her, but at the same time, she's like, I don't understand. What I don't understand is why has it been so long? Like, when are you going to give this up? Rob says, no matter how upset you get or how upset she gets, no one turns down a hug. Everyone loves a hug. We could help. But he says, in these moments, I know like I gotta leave her alone. Um, he's like, I know you're just trying to get through the day. And the women tell Jasmine to give him a timeline, give him a point in time of which he needs to either get involved here to make this work or you need to leave. And she says, he has a month. You gotta tell him he has a month so he knows that too. Ed is like, men are problem solvers. Sometimes we come home and we see that our woman's upset and we want to be able to help fix it. But you know what? That's not our job. Our job is to listen. What is happening? Am I being gaslit by Ed in this moment? Because I hear you saying the right thing, but do you actually apply that to your everyday life? Like, I don't know. Anyway, Rob and Sophie are being kind of cute in their moment. Again, it's just this back and forth with them. I can't. But then they kind of talk shit about Lauren some more because of why not. He tells her, I feel like you haven't wanted me or needed me in a long time. And I do feel like we need help. And he tells her that I have been talking to a therapist. He said he wasn't sure if he was going to tell her this or not, but I guess he chose to tell her. And he says, I think we need to maybe see a couples therapist and see if we can figure this out. And, it's kind of put, everything out there on the table. And I said, last resort, is that you? Because then Gino goes to talk to Jasmine and she says, I didn't mean to yell at you like that, but I'm so hurt and I know you're hurt too. Maybe we need to limit the time that we're together. Maybe we can stop fighting in that moment. But again, the fact that you guys are fighting is proof that you're trying to fight through for a relationship. The minute y'all stop fighting, it's done. It's over. And he's like, he said, I want you to miss me like you did when I was in Panama. But he does make a good point here. He kind of didn't say it the way that I would have, but here's what I would have said. He's going to mix it with what he says and with what I would have said. He says, we can't compare what we're going through to Panama because we weren't in person. What I think he should have said is, that was vacation, Gino. Vacation Gino and Vacation Jasmine are not the same as we are here in the real world, living together all the time. So that is very true. He thinks that if she just listens to me, maybe we can have some hope. So she's the only one who has to listen to you. You don't have to listen to her. There's no give and take between the two of you here. Like, oh. So we do some group photos and then everyone is leaving the house. And Patrick says that Liz said Ed is better in bed apparently, but Ed is the one that told him that. So Ed's probably making it up. He's making it up. We see Ashley packing up. She's like, oh, my tarot cards. And I guess Manuel's being a little cheeky. And she's like, you're not being attractive right now, Manuel. And Manuel, though, does break down here, and it just when Manuel cries, I get really emotional. I hate seeing this man cry. And he's like, I will go back. I may have made only $100 a week, but at least I'm helping my kids. He's like, why am I here? To wash her fucking clothes? But I understand him in this moment, and I think that's the part that she doesn't quite get is he may not be he may not be better off, quote unquote, back in Ecuador with what he could make working versus what he could make working in the States, but he was at least working in Ecuador. He's not working in the States, and you're the problem, he isn't. So I get him. So you're probably thinking in this moment that that's the end of this tell all. Absolutely not. We still have more. We have the couples tell more. And I'm like, but why? But why? Uh, and we don't have a whole lot. Like, I don't have a whole lot I'm going to talk about really. It's about a little bit over a page. But we're going to take a break here, though. And when we come back, we will jump in with the second half of this episode. And I am back. So I am recording this second half on my phone. So hopefully it sounds okay. But yeah, we don't have a whole lot really to go through. We're just doing the couples tell more part of this, and it's not a lot to go through. So let's jump in. So we got a polygraph test happening from with our resident TV polygraph expert. If you have watched MTV in the past, you'll recognize this guy. So it is the individual's choice to do the polygraph. You don't have to do it. But Gino is the first person who is put on the hot seat, but he isn't feeling it, he says. So he declines to do it. So the next person is Jasmine, and she's like, all right, she's going to do it. So basically, John is going to be asking, that's our expert, 3 different questions. And I think it was more like 4, but who am I? And the first question was whether or not she's attracted to Gino. She says yes, she's telling the truth. The next question, and this was a big one, this was a smart one, was whether or not she cheated with Ding Dan right before she left for America. She says no, she's telling the truth, y'all. Okay, I see Jasmine telling us the truth after all. The next question is, do you plan on leaving Gino? She says no, and that's also truthful. Oh wait, there's one more question, but it's a fun one. The question was basically, do you think if whether or not your boobs are too big? She said yes, and that was a lie. She actually wants them bigger, and that's true. I don't know the timeline of everything, but we know she wanted them bigger, so no one else wanted to do the lie detector test. Y'all are cowards. Let's move on. Um, Gino says if he had to choose one thing or the other, um, blowjob or toe sucking, he would definitely choose the sucking of the toes. And that's first. Then they had to be mean and that scene again, and I'm just like, listen, we didn't need to say it again. Next thing, Ashley and Alex apparently had a little beef because she felt silenced by him when she was kind of putting in her 2 cents about Jasmine and Gino segment. And we do see the scene. He kind of was like, he kind of did a hand gesture, but he also was like, let them finish. And she got a little bit upset about it. He says that he didn't mean anything by it. He's the kind of person who does gestures. It's not him like singling her out or anything like that. Um, but that's basically all that really happened there. Not much more to talk about. So let's move on from that. We find out that Kobe got exactly what he wanted because, as we know, their son's name is a Tem. We figured, oh, they didn't name the child Valerie after all. Well, actually, he got exactly what he wanted, and he did get to name his child after Valerie because Valerie's nickname is a Tem. I'm actually really upset for Emily. I mean, I'm sure she has learned to deal with it since. It's, he's, a few months, not even a few months, he's like 6 months old now. So I think I'm sure she's gotten used to the idea, obviously, of her son's name being after Valerie. But that initial, like, naming of the child and knowing, like, I really have no say my child's name, and I'm going to be naming him after your best friend who hates me. Like, I feel for her. I would be, no. Mm-mm, no. And he wants to act like holier than thou and be like, oh, I'm only asking you for this one thing. It's a big thing. And she's like, you're not even willing to compromise. Why can't it be a middle name? I think that's a perfectly good compromise. You're still getting both of you are still getting what you want. It's just, I actually think that's really selfish on Kobe's part. But, anyways, that's basically that. Angela says in another thing, if I'm being nice to you, that's kind of the end, really. So you being nice to your partner is the start of the end. Okay. She's like, I'm about done. Um, and she basically asked for her ring back, Michael's wedding ring back. And then she quote unquote lost it. She didn't lose it, y'all. She Jasmined that thing and probably stuck it in an orifice that will never be found again. Like, it's just, and you could tell, like, he's like, I've never taken my ring off of my finger. And you can literally tell the imprint of the ring is still on his finger. And it's just like, you're all so hell bent on the fact that this man is cheating on you. Yet, if a man was cheating on you, he would probably have to take that ring off. At least physically speaking, anyways. He would need to take that ring off. And he has not taken that ring off until now. Anyway, so we do get some on-screen text at this point saying, shortly after the tell-all, producers received the following update. We get Angela giving her BS version of the story, but I'm not going to focus on her because it is nothing but BS. We're going to focus on Michael. So he tells his side, and he basically says that he had to leave. He got the opportunity to leave when she had to run errands, as we kind of know. And he got all of his stuff packed up, and he ended up having to walk for 5 hours. Let me say that again. 5 hours. I wouldn't know what I would do. After half an hour, I'm done. You know what I mean? And he's doing this in Hazelhurst, Georgia. It ain't cool. It's hot. So he said, like, he felt like his legs were going to basically just fall off of him. He said he almost got attacked by a dog. Luckily, some guy was driving by in his car and was able to lend him his phone so he can make a phone call to some of his friends. And those friends were able to pick him up and drive him to the bus station. He said his entire trip from there, from point A to point B, wherever point B is for him, took 18 hours. 18 hours. And he says, like, I came here for the right intentions, and I believe him. I do believe he came for the right reasons. He wasn't playing games with her, despite the fact that she wanted to believe that he was, and that's her prerogative, I guess. And yeah, he's like, I just couldn't take it anymore. And no one should have to take that. What Angela was putting him through, no one should have to deal with. And then we get more from Angela again, just being like, I'm gonna see you again, Michael, whether it's on a plane or in courtroom. I'm gonna see you again, or whatever the hell she said. Then we get more on-screen text that says at the time of this taping, Michael was living with friends in an undisclosed location. And I still don't think we know where he is. And I think that's probably for the best. Um, I think that's actually pretty fair to say, because when she did her filing and had to serve him, she couldn't serve him in the traditional sense because she didn't have a address for him. So I think that's definitely for the best, that he needs to keep his location undisclosed, keep himself safe, um, because you don't want her pulling up on anybody. But that is basically it for this episode. Again, this was a little shorter, like I said it was going to be, because I wasn't going to be really focused on all the nonsense that kind of happened in the second half of this, because it's completely pointless. Um, yeah, so basically, we're done with HEA now, obviously, with this episode. So we will soon get into B90. I'm excited to talk B90 with everybody because, boy, this season is going to be really interesting. But the next thing that's coming your way will be Bachelorette, and we'll be doing the hometowns and fantasy suites. That's what will be coming up next. For that, I know that from one of my understanding, that's done now. But we'll have to get through um everything as quickly as possible. Things are ending and I'm still behind. But yeah, that's what will be next. And then we'll kind of figure out where we'll kind of go from there. But those are the two episodes you can expect. They're most likely going to be individual episodes, hometowns and fantasy suites. But yeah, well, that'll be the next thing that you can expect. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.